All right. Well, the next segment is the background check. Background. Checking in the background.
Some shit I can just kick back, smoke a fat ass joint too. You know what I'm saying?
That we're reviewing tonight.
The album
that we're reviewing tonight. Dun, 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 is The Chronic. It is Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
Yeah.
It was really cool when we came up with trying to review this one. I really got excited about it because, man, I actually haven't heard that record in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's always stuck in my head as one of the most influential albums that I've ever heard. You know, like it changed what I was listening to.
Yeah,
it changed what I was listening to.
I agree with that. I mean, even today, that album holds weight. I mean, it's still one of the most influential hip hop records. Scratch that. One of the most influential records, period, to ever be brought into the musical universe. Man, I really dig how you broke that down like that, man.
Especially how it came out. It came out when, like, Dr. Dre was like pretty much kind of left NWA, you know, like this huge group, and they were really dogging him, man. You know, like they were really talking bad about Dre. They were really talking bad about Dre, bringing up bringing up his, you know, what he was doing before NWA, and then he came out with this masterpiece, and he showed all these young cats, you know, and he brought them all into this masterpiece of an album, and it was just like, holy shit, man.
Changed the game, didn't it?
Holy shit.
And these cats that he actually put on The Chronic are rap gods themselves now today.
I'm an East Coast cat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so am I.
So when I first heard this, I got, you know, I'm sitting at my friend's house, you know, South Carolina, we're in there, and he's got The Chronic, and I'm sitting there. I first of all don't smoke, so I don't know what the hell The Chronic is.
Right.
You know, later on in life, I realized, okay, this is the, you know,
it's the good stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the cover and everything. I didn't know where it got the cover from. You know, none of it.
Wow.
You know, I didn't know crap about it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then, like, it's funny. I would talk about, you know, how I would be in my house and it would always have this certain smell, and then I came out to Colorado and then I was like, yo, this smells like my dad's house, and then I was weed. I'm like, oh shit.
And it all tied in together,
so
like The Chronic
like
and all that shit just tied in.
Fell down and crushed my world and shit. So like, you know, at the time, no, but you know, so it just my dad got down. But anyway, you know, when my friends are listening to The Chronic, we're sitting there and blown away just about the lyrics and just how these cats are going off, and then he hits me with the fact they're from the West Coast, and I was like, fuck out of here. The West Coast don't sound like that.
Yeah,
I like
Corrupt.
this is Corrupt,
Man,
Radio,
Corrupt.
Rage,
Yeah.
And it's later in the album.
Yeah.
It's later in the album.
I know
And Corrupt comes out and you're like,
Yep.
who the fuck? But everybody on the album, you were like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like the first time you heard Snoop Dogg on that Buddy G thing.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Like,
I was like,
this smooth talking motherfucker.
The second that video came out, I was like, the video. Yes, they used to play videos.
Right.
It was the second that video came out and I heard that, and it's a simple rhyme, man. It's that 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. I mean, dude, that's a simple rhyme, man. But the way Snoop said that shit, man, I was like, dude, who is this kid, you know?
They were showing off all
And then-
their talents, man. And
then Corrupt later on, he was young, was spitting on that, and you know, like Lady Rage was on there, and you're like, man, who's this chick,
I
man?
wish Lady Rage was still doing her thing.
Yeah.
Take this chick, man. I think, you know, I still don't know how tall she is. I think she's like 7 foot tall with Afro puffs. And I mean,
Linebacker shoulder too, man. You
will
know, like,
knock you the fuck out.
yeah.
And she was like, yo, the track that she came on, she just went off, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you think you got the gift, then Merry Christmas.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like the way she broke that shit down.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it justice.
Right.
That shit.
But
like,
it was full of. The first time I
Get
heard
your
that
Lady
album,
Ray John,
sitting in my bedroom. Sitting in my bedroom by myself late at night because I wasn't allowed to listen to this shit. Listening to these things, and every time I listened to it, I would hear something like that.
Right.
And I'd be like, fuck. Because at first I wanted to hear Nothing But a G Thing,
Right.
Dre-The, songs like that, And then, I was, man, I don't want to put my age out there, but I was just coming to
You were a young guy.
Yeah, and like so. So no, these nuts fucking interludes, that type of shit, the $20 sack pyramid, those crack me up,
That's one thing I gotta say about this record. That's one thing I gotta say about this record is that I don't really remember skits being such an integral part of albums.
Right.
Until I heard The Chronic. And now I'm sure that there were plenty of skits out there, and I'm drawing a fucking blank right now. I mean, De La Soul is dead. There's plenty of skits out there. Right.
Yeah.
But The Chronic, The Chronic is actually what really kind of embodied the album being like a movie without pictures. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's like you were sitting in passenger seat with these cats.
Yeah, like you
know
were there.
Like, they explained everything so vivid, and so like they painted that picture, like you said, man, like you were there grinding through what they went through and shit, man. And they right in the beginning of the album, they just like go in on the haters. Like that's you know what I'm saying? Like it starts off with them addressing the hatred shit. I don't even want to go into it, but go into hatred. It's all old shit, right? Yeah. Go into the hatred, then hit them with the fucking they just went off on like 3 cats in the first song, and then it just
and
like,
the videos that go with those tracks, man.
Oh my god!
It's like they had people dressing up, looking like cats, man.
They had to do.
They blacking out dudes' teeth, with markers and shit, man. I was like, these dudes, but it was all part of the, and like I hit it when I was like 13, like I got this when I was 13. Very, important part of it.
Old ass mofo.
Tony got it when he was 13 too. So, very important part of a young person's life, man. And this album just grabbed me, man. And I was on some, man, fuck Tim Dog, man. Fuck Tim
Easy.
Dog.
Fuck
Easy.
Yeah, like Easy was like the only cat that, and Luke were the only cats
fuck
that
Luke
I knew.
Skywalker. Fuck them dudes.
Yeah.
Damn, and
We down
that's
with
the
the
first time
Chronic.
I heard some shit like that.
But
like,
you do realize, like, I'm looking at this track order. I'm looking at this track order on this thing, man, and you got the Dre-The.
Yeah.
Then you got Let Me Ride.
Let Me Ride is amazing. Hold up. Let Me Ride, as you just said that, man. Let Me Ride puts me back to when I was 13, 14 years old, or however old I was. It takes me back to how I felt. I was on some Dr. Dre, bitches ain't shit, smoke weed.
Right.
I was stealing cars at the time, man. Fuck, I was wilding out back then on some fucking Chronic shit.
Dude, I was entering high school thinking I was a badass.
Yeah,
with the Chronic influencing, that's telling me what I'm...
No, I'm sorry, my bad.
Go ahead.
I would listen to the Chronic and then go home and do this shit. That's how I was. Right?
Man, I was actually trying to live that shit.
Yeah, I wasn't living, man. My mom would have lived with a foot in my ass.
Well, of course, I lived it outside the household.
I couldn't even.
Well, my mom would have put a foot in my ass too.
I'm just. This was like a village situation. You know what I mean? Like I had family everywhere. So
my mom would have whipped my ass if she found the tape.
Yeah, I was never getting down like that. But I was on that shit though. I was like on that though. You know what I mean? Like I was feeling that big time. Like it changed my mind about how I looked at things. That one record did.
This record put me on a 4-year. This record put me on a 4-year listening to nothing but the
affiliates.
Yeah,
but I mean they changed the game. I mean
they put out some albums, man.
I mean they changed hip hop. This record, The Chronic, changed hip hop. It changed the structure of it. It changed how it was done. It changed what people did. It enhanced rap beef. It enhanced, you know what I mean? It was the beginning of the East Coast, West Coast beats.
But dude, the way that they did it, man, it was just
the way that they did it.
The sound, I can't even front the beats, the sound that they gave you,
the production.
And he was a genius for bringing these young kids, like 19, 20, 21-year-olds that knew how to rap, in there, and fucking showed them the fuck off. And it made it an album because Dre knew, like, I can't carry this whole album by myself. I'm coming from a 4-man group.
He even had a production team, like
guitars,
if you go into
shit.
the credits and stuff like that, you're like Dr. Dre's. He is the beat maker. Don't get me wrong. He's the orchestrator. He's that.
But he'll play them. He'll play them the example. Then they'll play off his shit.
But there's a bunch of credits. If you look at the credits and his production, there's like 4 or 5 people that came together to make this one beat.
Yeah.
And then this
play all the instruments. He recorded them and then chopped up the recordings. Like
this
Dre's
is the one
genius.
problem. This is the one problem
Genius
that
himself.
I've got with the Chronic from then to now. Right? Is that when I was listening to the Chronic back then, I was a up and coming rap enthusiast, hip hop enthusiast, you know what I mean? And I really thought that Dre was making the beats, writing the lyrics, embodying this whole thing, and he was coming off of NWA, and he was really doing this, you know what I mean? It broke my fucking spirits to know that Dre, and as you said, he had all kinds of credits.
You found out really late, huh?
I found out a little later than I probably should have.
Yeah, I found out in the NWA days that Dre wasn't writing those.
Yeah, Q was writing for him, but for some weird reason, it didn't bother me that Q was writing for Dre with NWA, and like Ren was writing for, for everybody and shit. It didn't bother me, but when it was the Chronic album, and with Dr. Dre in particular, I guess. It's because he's such an iconic figure in my hip hop culture lifestyle, I guess. Yeah. To know that, I know lots of producers. I know lots of producers that rap that are dope as fuck. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, man. My Logic is a dope ass producer MC. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying though. And so it really hurt my feelings a little bit to know that. Man, so along with that huge production team that you guys are talking about, he also had a huge production team of writers. These writers were these young guys that he enlisted.
Well, it was actually his writer on that. It was DOC, wasn't it?
Man, I'm not 100% sure. I do believe that DOC did do a lot of writing.
Because I'm along the lines with you where but it doesn't bother me about Dre because I figured that what bothers me is that Snoop Dogg being a young guy, he wrote all of his shit, but he would just write down lines, and the DOC would come behind and be like, you should put this here, you should put this here.
Yeah.
And he constructed his rhymes for him. That bugged me a little bit. Because Snoop came off on the Chronic, but he had the help of...
Right. I actually have a problem with that a little bit, with artists reciting other artists' lyrics. And I understand that you're a producer and you have the vision for it and all that. So that's the one drawback for me, is that I was very disappointed to find out later on, after the Chronic had been so influential to me, Little Ghetto Boy, Let Me Ride, Dre-The.
Nothing but a G thing,
Nothing but a G thing.
Yeah, like...
Bitches ain't shit, rat-a-tat-tat.
Dude, I gotta say it again, like, D's Nuts has one of the greatest intros to a song, and at least I thought so back then, at 13. Now I feel a little different about the, some of the stuff, how they treat women and stuff like that. I feel that's my main...
Well, yeah, of course.
But I have a different, but I still think it's a really well-constructed project.
It was on a lifestyle. It was a lifestyle that it was projecting out. You know what I mean? And so with how they're talking about treating women and stuff, I would never treat a woman the way that they were, expressing that they would treat her. But it was promoting a lifestyle. You know what I mean? If you were down with this type of lifestyle, this is what you were living.
You were already living it.
You know what I'm saying? So
that was your ride. That was your theme music.
Yeah, that's how you got down anyway. You know what I mean? So I think that helped us as a culture desensitize to how we, treated women in the future, to how we treat women today. It has a little bit to do with, they weren't talking about treat queens, queens, this and that, They were just on some, and that was cool for back then. It reminds me of being young, full of piss and vinegar, this album also revolutionized sampling.
Yeah.
Hip hop always has
Right.
been based off of the sample. You know what I mean? But
He just took it to a different.
this guy actually took a whole, almost an entire work of a group, Parliament Funkadelic, and made an album off of his favorite songs that he grew up listening to from moms and dads. You know what I mean?
And did it fresh too, man. And it's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had just reviewed Chance the Rapper. There's the track that he did. Was it called Love or something? I'm not Love, but it's
Everybody, somebody, something.
no, not one. The one after that, you know. Lost. It's called Lost. That track Lost.
Yes, we'll cut that out with the dead space right there.
Yeah, that track Lost. So Lost has one of the little interludes in the part where he's like, you know, if we stop doing this and us, blah blah blah, you know, and I don't know the exact, but it was that little beautiful do 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 do
Yeah.
and a flute in the background, and then Lost was made from that. So even cats, you know, young cats, you know what I'm saying, they you know
they still know what's
they still
up
know
too.
what's up, you know, but the sampling was ridiculous, man. It was great.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It
It
embodied.
changed beats, I
Right.
think. You know.
Well,
like-
you know, it changed. I think MCs coming with having a conceptual record, like hip hop
And then-
being
yeah.
a conceptual album, like Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? Like Pink Floyd's fucking Dark Side of the Moon shit, like a conceptual album.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounds, The Chronic has to be one of the dopest concept records ever for hip hop. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And he used a California style, a California sound, which was Parliament Funkadelic. You know, they're from Oakland and shit. You know what I mean? I'm sure that they ran California back then. You know what I mean? And flipped it and made it his own style, which turned into like gangster hip hop from California, West Coast hip hop.
Right.
Smashing.
Yeah, that's what it turned into.
It's
the
the P-
synthesizers and
The P-Funk hip hop era.
yeah, it was
It
dope.
was dope.
It was dope. Yo,
Yeah.
I just like to reminisce, think about old records like this.
Yeah.
The background check. That's really nice. We're gonna have to keep this cracking off.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
And we haven't said it this time, but you can email us with, you know, any suggestions for any of these segments, any records you want to hear us talk about.
Right, we'll have the email links all set up for you. You know what I mean? Just click on the bottom of the screen there, and you'll have all that stuff ready for you. The Chronic by Dr. Motherfucking Dre.
Yeah.
Doctors
And it'll always, you know, I'm not the same kid I was when I really, really loved this album. When it, you know,
I agree with you, and that's why I wish I could be a little more enthusiastic about this. If I would have been doing this back when I was fucking 14 years old, I would have been geeking. Like, I would have been throwing up gang signs and fucking had a 40 in my lap, and you know what I mean? And bandana, dicky out. It'd have been a trip, man. You know.
Like I know, I never lived that lifestyle at all. Never portrayed a gangster and stuff, but it was a great time.
Right.
It was a great time in my life. Like, you know, my good friends, you know, that's what we did. We listened to hip hop and, you know what I'm saying, recite the lyrics and, you know, wild out and stuff. And, you know, just try to, you know, just live life and, you know, and hearing that tracks and just remembering how, you know, and reciting the actual breaks as far as the skits and things like that, and the, you know, the little transitions and things like that. Just laughing about those shit, you know, saying, I need the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That shit was,
And then the pyramid.
Shit,
you know
I
what I'm
was
saying?
straight out of Death
Yeah.
Row.
Yeah.
It was slap
dude.
upside the head, man. Like,
Yeah.
it was just super dope,
Shit.
man. So that was the shit. That was our, you know, me and my friends. That was our shit, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
They changed the game, man. They
I was
changed the game.
an immature 13-year-old male. You know, that's where I was sitting
Well, yeah,
at.
so was I. You know. What I
You
mean?
know, that's where I was sitting at then,
You're man.
and shit. I don't know anymore.
Oh.
So, you know, all those, you know, the cuss words and all that at first, that's what drew me to it. But it's the album that stuck with me. I just learned to really respect this album.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm at a point now where I'm an older guy, and I don't feel the bitches and all that kind of stuff, but it's still an amazing album. It's still one of those albums that I will always say one of the most influential albums of my life.
I like how you put that, man. I'm not necessarily feeling the messages that are projected out on this record at all.
There was some, like you said, they did hit you with some messages,
like Little Ghetto Boy.
Yeah, about your life,
Yeah, and I can't stop looking at this track list, because you look at this and 60% of the people that featured on this album ended up going like platinum, having really big albums themselves. So it changed things for a while.
Yeah, it changed things.
People rode this album out to money for a little while.
Shit, Snoop Lion still riding this.
Still riding it, yeah. And do Dog Food, incredible album from Daz and Corrupt.
Right. Yeah.
Who debuted on this. Warren G. Debuted on this. Had a little intro in that song.
That's Dr. Dre's half brother, something like that. Something like that.
So many people. And even Lady of Rage had a single that went at least platinum with the Afro Puffs.
Hey.
People just rode this album out, and Dre was a genius for this, and I just can't stop looking at this track list.
And
and the samples and everything.
For me, I don't know if another artist has been able to bring you into their world. You know what I mean? Literally into their world and show you, to make you feel like you are from there. The Couch.
I think we out.
Tony, Gary, Dion.
Peace.
Ciao.
Peace.